Hey guys, welcome back. We have a special video for you guys today that stuck through our running warm-up series that we had this week, our 4-part series. If you missed any of that, but you're here on today's bonus video, feel free to go back. I'm Andy Held, this is Ben Heithoff, two of our genesisgo virtual coaches, and we're going to be diving into a little bit more of a longer form video today on running programming. We hope the videos this week were helpful in getting you prepared for the movement of running. We know with limited or restricted equipment during this time, people are going out and trying to make the best of whatever they got, and for some that's just their body and the beautiful weather outside. We want to make sure that if we're going outside and we're doing running, we want to make sure that we're doing it effectively so that we get a return, we increase our fitness levels, but we're also staying safe as we do it as well. We want to see as many people come back to the clubs fitter, stronger, and definitely not more broken than they were before we went on this break. So we're going to go through a 3-day exercise program for running. Ben's going to open it up on the first energy system, the first day, if you will, and then we're going to kind of take you guys through these.
And we will say, we were talking about why we want to do something like this, and it came from, we've had a lot of clients over the years where they just go into one energy system, they just do really long distance, and they, 50% of runners on a running program get injured. And so that's partially where this came from, but it's also a way to become way more effective in the running that you are doing. And we've seen people really improve a lot of times and be able to run on a lot more races each year too with doing this type of a programming. So sometimes less is more when it comes to runners, and we know runners go and they go until they hurt and then they keep going. So this is a way to hopefully minimize that mindset and maximize output. So on day one, and one thing we'll explain when we see some of the percentages and distances, we're basing it off of 5K pacing, if you will. Most people out there doing running programs have ran a 5K or know their 5K time, so it's very easy to figure out at what pace to run at based on that. So day one would be a shorter volume day, but a higher speed day. And this is one where your intensity is going to be 110 to 120% of that 5K pace, okay? Your total distance and volume is going to be anywhere from 30 to 100% of a 5K. So for those of you that are, not great at math, it'll be anywhere from a total distance of 2 kilometers up to 5 kilometers, okay? Now, there's going to be different break time in there. This is usually one where you're going to go to a high rate of speed, get a decent amount of recovery time to where you can hopefully have that same kind of force output again. And again, I mentioned energy systems. This one really taps into what's called your phosphagen or your anaerobic glycolytic system. That's one most runners we get our hands on never touch. They usually go same steady pace, or they don't ever run at a fast enough speed to really utilize fast twitch muscle fibers. And I know for distance running you definitely need slow twitch, but you go in order of your what twitch you have, and so fast twitch is usually one that gets ignored a lot. So a good example of this type of program would be 4x400 meter repeats, going at obviously 110%. With a pretty decent pace, but there's obviously a lot of break time in there, so that 400 that you're running is a very, very, very high rate of speed. So that would kind of be what your day one would look like in that week.
So just touching on some of what Ben said before we move into describing this second day, working those fast twitch muscle fibers, and a lot of the ones, like you said, a lot of our runners miss out on, not only help increase times and really help increase runners' efficiency, but really help with resiliency. So avoiding injury and staying in the sport for the long term, because hopefully we can stay running, our whole life long. Working with people that can still run in their 60s and 70s without the pain.
But that isn't commonplace.
Yes, we want to make sure we keep the shock strong on the car. So that's where like cross training and doing some resistance training in between these days would really be optimal. Obviously we can talk about that at another point, or if we're working with you in a coaching setting, but we want to make sure that we keep working a wide variety of fiber types. I love the story in the old Soviet Union. They used to not allow any of their athletes to run until they could squat double their body weight, right? So if a 200-pound athlete, let's say they're a sprinter, right, needs to go out, they need to be able to squat 400 pounds, right? You have a marathon runner that weighs 150, still needs to be able to squat 300 pounds in order to withstand the 7 times your body weight that comes down with every running stride. So this is really crucial. This is a piece that we see missed out on with a lot of our runners, so it's going to be really crucial. We are still going to be tapping into some of that in our medium volume day, or what sometimes we call our submax day. So this day, the intensity is going to be lower than on our speed work day. It's going to be at about 80 to 90%, so slightly dialed back from our test pace. So let's say we run 10-minute miles, right? That may mean that we're running closer to an 11-minute mile, all right, or a 10:30. So we're backing that down a little bit so that we can work up in our volume and our distances. So in total, our volume on this day may be anywhere between 80 and 160% of that 5K. So 4K to 8K for guys like me that aren't as good at the math. Energy systems, we are still working that glycolytic in the early stages, but we're going to transition into working our aerobic system as well. This is where typically most runners, most recreational runners are very strong. We're working fast twitch and slow twitch. An example of a workout that would fall into this category would be 2 4Ks, but at a slower pace than we would typically do our 5K. So it's accumulating more volume, more work, so that when we come to that shorter test day, if you will, we can do it faster. All right, so that leads us into the last day.
Yep, and we forgot to mention, but typically we're seeing like on other days in between these, there's other programming as far as strengthening or yoga or some other program that's added in there. Now this last day is usually your volume day, which is nice, long, slow, and steady. And notice the intensity, 60 to 80%. So we're nowhere near running this time because if you look at our distance, hey, we're going 120 to 200% of that. So it's anywhere from 7K to 10K. And we understand there's a lot of different runners at different points. So that can obviously be a lot longer, or maybe it's you're towards the bottom end on that. So again, there's a lot of disparity based on who you are, but this is very aerobic in your oxidative energy system. Muscle fiber type is definitely slow twitch. And again, an example of that would be running a 7K, but just obviously at a modified intensity where you're doing that, or even building up even more volume. Now, we had talked a lot about how there's a lot of you that are running that are trying to get ready for races that are half marathon or even marathon. Obviously, some of these distances would modify and change, but it should progress as you get closer to race day. You can't say, well, I'm going to run a marathon, so you run a marathon every single week. Very, very, very few people can do that and sustain that. And you mentioned a really good thing about resiliency. How many people do you know at the very end of the race try and go into a sprint towards the finish line, and all of a sudden they pull up lame because their hamstring or their calf went on them? So again, that's where a lot of your other strength training work comes in, but also hitting your other energy systems and fiber type. But this is a really, really well-structured program where foot contacts, if you notice, are minimized a little bit more. Same with like total volume in a week. You'll hear runners talk about, I'm doing 30 to 60 miles a week, and we just don't see those people sustain that for a very, very long amount of time without some sort of injury or setback, or even potentially tapping into overtraining too.
Or they simply don't get faster, which I see all the time where, just because we bang our head against a brick wall doesn't mean that we're breaking through. So we really want to maximize efficiency with this program with the least amount of breakdown. Like Ben said, this wouldn't be all that ideally a runner would be doing. We would be doing some cross training. I always love the analogy, you can't shoot a cannon out of a canoe. You need to make sure that you...
You can try, right? It doesn't go too well.
You need to make sure that you build up the body as well to withstand the sport of running, because really running is a sport. I know we were talking about this the other day. Ben was talking about how you don't run to get in shape, you get in shape to run. But hopefully this does provide some extra efficiency for you. Now this would just be an example of a week. Obviously we would want that to progress out over the course of a training cycle, if you will, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. If you need any help with setting the paces, that's why we're here. Obviously feel free to comment on this video or reach out through your member portal, and we're doing free trials on our coaching programs right now too. So if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. We'd love to work with you. Hope this video was of some value to you. Hope you enjoyed the rest of the warm-up videos this week. Thanks so much.